Yo, Maryland, did you know that your senator went all the way to El Salvador to meet with their vice president to beg for the release of Kilmar Albrega Garcia? Kilmore, which off top is a crazy name. He was deported to El Salvador despite not even being from to El Salvador, and also opposed to an immigration court order preventing his deportation. Senator Van Halen started, he's an American rock legend. He started a classic rock band in Pasadena, California in 1973. And he's known for hits like Jump and Running with the Devil. But you gotta be running with the devil to think you're gonna go all the way to El Salvador just to get one man. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same. Not that Van Hollen. It's Van. Oh, it's Van Hollen. Yo, that's a crazy name too. Anyway, Democratic Senator Chris Van Halen is like this old Bill Murray looking ghost busting illegal alien superhero. He's like a superhero. He's held that same seat since 2017. And yo, Maryland is actually one of the worst states I've ever been to in my whole life, my ever. My little sister lives there right now. Baltimore is still really like The Wire, and it's literally like overran with immigrants, and not the hardworking, business owning, cool immigrants, or like them corner store. Not them immigrants, them crazy looking, stinky, dangerous looking immigrants. You know what I'm saying? But who is Kilmore Garcia to where he's worth going through all this trouble for? That's what I want to find out. My name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Look, I know y'all don't really like Rachel Maddow. I kind of like him. I feel like he's smart. I don't know why his parents named him Rachel. That's another crazy name. But check this clip out, because Rachel Maddow is like has an exclusive interview live with Senator Van Halen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm getting right to it.
The prison in El Salvador, where Kilmar Abrego Garcia was sent, the Trump administration says by mistake, is one of the largest maximum security prisons in Latin America. In recent weeks, that prison has become a kind of photo op for members of the Trump administration and his Republican supporters in the U.S. Congress. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem toured the prison in March, posting an Abu Ghraib-style video and photos of
Hey, she was so fine when she went there. She was cold.
herself in front of a crowded cell. This week, Republican Congressman Jason Smith of Missouri posted his own photo from inside the prison in El Salvador.
Yep.
So did Republican Congressman Riley Moore of West Virginia, who shared this photo, double thumbs up,
Matter of fact, that's a cool picture.
in front of the cells of the prison. Today, another lawmaker arrived in El Salvador, this time a Democrat, and he's there for a very different reason. He is the senior senator from the state where Kilmar Abrego Garcia lived with his family until the Trump administration had him arrested and took him to this foreign prison in a move the administration, again, admitted was what they called an administrative error. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland landed in El Salvador today with the hope that he might see Mr. Abrego Garcia or be able to talk to him.
I hope to meet with some high-level government officials from El Salvador. As I've said before, the goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful.
Who
I also
is this
hope
guy?
to have the chance to meet with him, but we'll have a better idea.
He must be like a
That works out a little
superstar in
later on.
Maryland or something. Is he a basketball player?
Senator Van Hollen
Never
landing
heard
in El
of him.
Salvador today, hoping for a chance to meet with Kilmar Abrego Garcia in that prison. Senator Van Hollen says the vice president of El Salvador told him he would not be able to do that when he met with him today.
Sure.
Joining us now for the interview is Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, who joins us from El Salvador. Senator, thank you so much for what you're doing and for being here with us tonight. I know it's been a very long day.
It has, Rachel, but as you said in the intro, I promised Kilmar's family that I would do everything I could to bring him home because, as you said, a court in the United States has determined that he was illegally abducted from the United States and landed in the most notorious prison in El Salvador. So that's why I raised these issues directly with the vice president of El Salvador. The president is not in the country now. So I met with the vice president to talk about these issues and ask for the.
Yo, that's because the president is with Trumpito right now. That's that player looking dude you be seeing on the news looking like a Miami club promoter, chilling without no tie on it. And he already said, "What you want me to smuggle dude back into the country?" He said that yesterday. So, Senator Van Hollen, what are you on?
Opportunity to go visit Kilmar.
What's sort of the range of potential outcomes here that you think are possible? What are you hoping to accomplish on this trip? And how did those expectations match up with the experience that you had today meeting with the country's vice president and hearing what you did from him?
Well, my goal is to keep a spotlight on this issue until justice is done, until the 9-0 opinion by the Supreme Court is implemented by the Trump administration, which is ignoring entirely that order that they need to facilitate his return. I asked the folks at the embassy whether they'd been ordered by the administration to do anything to facilitate his return. The answer was no. So they're clearly not in compliance. And I said to the vice president of El Salvador, look, you've got somebody in your worst prison, the prison for terrorists, who the United States court has said has committed no crime. And so I asked him if he had any evidence that Kilmar was a member of MS13 or had committed any crimes. And he said no. So I asked him why he was keeping Kilmar in prison here. And his answer was that essentially the Trump administration is paying the government of El Salvador taxpayer money to keep this person here.
Man,
despite
do you
the
believe
orders.
that
So
malarkey?
my goal,
They just be
Rachel,
saying
is
anything.
to make sure that we keep the spotlight on this issue, because I think it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable to continue to keep a person who has not been convicted of a crime in the worst prison in El Salvador, when the Trump administration admitted itself to a judge that this was a mistake. But instead of fixing the mistake, they fired the Justice Department lawyer who admitted it was a mistake.
Underscore what you just said there, that you were told by the U.S. Embassy in El Salvador that they have received no request from the White House or from the Justice Department, from any other entity in Washington, asking them to take any steps to obtain the release of Mr. Abrego Garcia. Presumably, it's the local U.S. officials at the embassy there who would be the relevant point of contact, first point of contact for the U.S. government, trying to attain that outcome, correct?
The Trump administration has not lifted a finger to implement that court order. And so I think it's important that the courts know that, and they will know that. And again, denying his family an opportunity to even have a phone call with Kilmar is just a gross violation of basic human rights and human decency. And, I asked the vice president if I came back next week, whether or not I could go visit Kilmar. And
Yo, I'm sorry for laughing at that, because it's not funny that he don't get to be around his family and whatnot. But I just think it was funny when they was just like, the Trump administration hasn't lifted a finger to do anything despite what the judge at court ordered. That's kind of funny to me. Matter of fact, let me wrap this up. Yo, I honestly be jealous how much love people get over us. You know what I'm saying? And by us, I mean me. You know how many times that I've been wronged? You know how many times I've been arrested, locked up, tased? Sometimes they wouldn't even charge me. They just be like, "You free to go? Free to go? Free to go? Where? Where am I even at?" You know how many times that, look, one time I was robbed by 10 state troopers on 38th and Shaylin at a Dunkin' Donuts for 100 iPads. Remember I told you I had a phone store. I would have a lot of merch. They took all my iPads and then they left me there with my gun. And I'm a convicted felon. I'm not even supposed to have a gun. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how many times I've been taken advantage of by businesses, by banks, chasing Chase Bank closed our business account with $30,000 and it kept it for 60 days and then sent us a check. And they said we were kayaking. I didn't even know what kayaking was, but kayaking is when you write the same check at a bunch of different banks because you have this amount in your account. But we never even had a checkbook. You know what I'm saying? We would send our devices to our buyer and he would wire us back the money and that was it. You know what I'm saying? But do you know how many times I have been sent home from jobs um for just not getting along, not wanting to be called a boy, and no senator ever ran to my rescue. Every time I scream to the heavens. I'm a very, very hard worker. You know what I'm saying? You know how many construction gigs I do construction. I'm at a job now. You know how many construction gigs that I've been sent home because I didn't want to be called somebody's boy? You know what I'm saying? I contacted HR in each one of these scenarios, but do you think that any attorney slash senator ever came to my rescue? You know what I'm saying? But I accept for me that is just how it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm 45 and I accept that now, you know. But some people can go to any matter of fact, you can go to any city in America, places where I can't go, and you'll find a little Chinatown, you'll find a little Mexico. In some cities, it'll be whole communities with billboards and signs full of different languages. You know what I'm saying? Store signs. Like that's because they've been getting hella tax breaks for years, getting all the opportunities to lease in places that you think I can't afford to lease from there. I can afford to lease from there, but I can't. Like Sidehawk Management on Michigan Road. You think there's not one? I'm not even going to get into it, but I have tried to do business in this country, all over the country, and I haven't had the opportunities. Honestly, I'm jealous. You know what I'm saying? I've been wanting them jobs. I've been wanting them opportunities. I've been wanting to travel safe in them places where I can't go. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering. I'm jealous. I'm wondering how y'all skipped me in line. You know what I'm saying? Who is Kilmar Albeda Garcia? You know what I'm saying? Okay, even if he was wrongly deported, now let's just say that he was wrongly deported. If so, man, that would be super valiant that Senator Van Hollen go all the way to El Salvador to rescue this man. But what Rachel and him did not mention is that he snuck over here. Democrats, look, this and all that gay stuff is why y'all have lost the black people's vote. And I can speak now for more than 70%, for 70% of America when I say stop fighting Trumpito and let him try to make America great again. For Christ's sakes. Jesus. Yo, tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time.